Welcome into another episode of the 2023 Fantasy Baseball Team Previews. I'm Jason. You can find me at Twitter at JRBex. I'm joined by JP, and you can find him on Twitter at DapScout. First off, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel down below. You're going to get great fantasy content all year long. Also, if you want, you can head on over to fantasy6pack.net. We got a ton of content over there, including sign up to become an all-access member of the Fantasy Six Pack. You're going to get access to our award-winning rankings, draft cheat sheets. We got a Discord up and running, and tons more. So go ahead and head over to fantasy6pack.net/plans. Use promo code F6PMLB, and you'll get an additional 15% off. But today we're going to go ahead and talk about the 2023 Fantasy Baseball Team Preview of the Cincinnati Reds. Go ahead and jump into the starting lineup here. Leading off, we have TJ Friedel. Hitting second, we have Jonathan India, followed by Joey Votto. Hitting fourth, we have Tyler Stephenson. Batting fifth is Will Myers. Sixth, Jake Fraley. Seventh, Spencer Steer. Eight, Kevin Newman. And then rounding it out and hitting ninth is Nick Senzel. One of the things that jumps out of the page here, man, looking up and down this lineup is just one, Joey Votto still on the team. Churning it out here. I think he's at like about 39 years old. And then other than that, I mean, just a lot of post-hype sleepers, right? I mean, everyone from Jonathan India, Nick Senzel, a lot of guys here that are, were highly touted prospects. I've just kind of never really jumped off the page for whatever one reason or not. But, the biggest one I'm kind of targeting here, it would be Jonathan India. I think, he's still kind of newer. He's shown a little bit of some flashes and then had a little bit of a down year in 2022. But I think, with an ADP of, just outside 150, with as shallow as second base is, I'm all in on India. If he can stay healthy and put it all together, I think he, could surprise a lot of people at that ADP.
And that's the key, right? And that's the key, right? Second base is a huge drop off. And you want to pay up for second base, or do you want to, let it go after somebody else, or get one of those outfield at bats and do kind of a filler? And I think if you're doing that strategy, I think India's a great kind of person to take a bet on. There's some other places you could obviously go as well, but I definitely like India and that kind of that third tier second baseman. And by third tier, I mean the first are the will start, no problem, put them all in. The second tier is kind of the players that you're going to maybe play some matchups and hope that maybe you can pick somebody up. And then you have Jonathan India, who, you're just hoping for, a bounce back, and you missed out on everybody else. So that's definitely going to be the guy I'm going to draft later on and hope for that. And I agree with you. There's so many bounce back candidates here. I think Cincinnati is playing fantasy baseball themselves, some of these. But definitely going to be interested to see if, A, can India stay healthy, and then, B, what are we going to get from him? But I'm rooting for the guy.
Yeah, and then another one I kind of wanted to slot was a little interesting name would be Spencer Steer. We saw him come over, from Minnesota in the trade last year. Hit a ton of power in the minors. Came up, he's got a real small cup of coffee last year once he got over to Cincinnati. I think, similar to India, if you're missing out on some of those big name third basemen, Steer is somebody that you could probably fill in, get later on in those rounds. And, what better to pair with, power than one of the best power hitting baseball fields there is in Great American Ballpark. So I think if Spencer Steer can put that power, to use, and obviously somewhere in like Great American Ballpark, he can be a great asset at third base for a late round flyer.
And, the thing is too, is that, he might be able to pick up additional, eligibility as well. He saw time at second base and shortstop in the minors. So there's definitely a lot of ability for him to kind of be that, multi-position kind of filler for you as well. So I agree with you 100%. We know that the power is there. He has the ability to do that. He showed it with the Twins, and you're in a stadium that loves power, at the Great American Ballpark. I'm going to be really interested to see if he pulled the extra position eligibility, and of course, to see what those power numbers look like. So yeah, absolutely love Steer.
Yeah, there's another post type prospect that I'm actually staying away from, and that's going to be Tyler Stephenson. He's been one of those guys. Even maybe in a two-catcher league, I could see rostering him, but catcher position alone is already a wasteland. But Stephenson is someone that I'm not. He was always typed up to be the next big catching prospect or hitter, and I just haven't seen it out of him. But other than that, I mean, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you saw my face. Stevenson hurt me. I drafted him early in a lot of first player drafts. I believe the hype, and I
Mm-hmm.
agree with you. I just don't believe in his bat right now. And on top of that, it's a catcher. Just you don't necessarily want to go that route. The thing is that they have him in 4, uh, and that's got to be indicative, I think, of more of Cincinnati than of Tyler Stevenson's abilities. That's more the concerning part for me, at least. If I was sitting there, I can avoid that at all costs. You're probably gonna see him on the free agent waiver wire soon enough. And if he gets drafted, you know, just feel bad for the team that drafts him in your league.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's go ahead and jump over to the starting rotation then. We got Hunter Greene as the ace, followed up by Nick Lodolo. 3 there is Graham Ashcraft. 4th is Luke Weaver, and 5th is Luis Sessa. I know we're talking about the hitting being a little bit suspect, but pitching obviously is starting to look like a little bit of a strength here for the Cincinnati Reds. You got Hunter Greene and Nick Lodolo at the top, and if you ask me, this is probably one of the best 1-2 punches outside of Burns and Woodruff in this division. Obviously, still young, both electric arms. We saw them both, have a great 2022 season, and I think both of them have great expectations for 2023. What do you think?
The thing is, Hunter Greene ended the season last year. I don't remember what the end of his starts were, but I just remember those last 2 months ish or so. He was on fire. He was amazing. So, Hunter Greene is a guy that if I can get, fantastic. He throws the heck out of the ball, and he's a guy that I love to watch. And so if I could root for him while he's also helping my fantasy team, great. Agree with you on Lodolo as well. Somebody who just is doing, amazing at the end of last year as well. So that's somebody that I definitely would love to see if he could build upon that. And it's going to be, really key on his ADP. The person that I want to really kind of hit on here is Graham Ashcraft because he hurt me at a soul crushing level last year. So you see his numbers, right? You see like how hard he could throw the ball. We're, 96, 99, over 100. And you just think, wow, this guy is going to dominate lineups. The thing is if you own him and you owned him in your leagues and you saw him on a game by game basis, when he gets hit hard. And I have sold him a lot this offseason because I just don't believe that he's making the necessary adjustments. I think he's one of those guys that's going to be a power pitcher for too long and then he finally figures it out. Well, I hope he finally figures it out. I'm always rooting for these people to rooting for players to figure it out. But he's constantly trying to overpower guys trust me, he's got overpowering stuff. It looks amazing, but guys are just hitting it too hard. If you look at some of his peripherals, that hard hit contact rate is just way too high for anybody that I would like, especially in the number 3 SP3 spot. Again, if he's in my rotation, I get SP5, great. But considering where he's being drafted, I am not touching Graham Ashcroft at all, especially after what I saw last season.
Yeah, and then I mean Luke Weaver and Luis Sessa. I'm not,
Yeah.
One other small little topic on the starting rotation is Justin Dunn. He's another one of those post prospects that I guess Cincinnati again likes to acquire. He came over from Seattle, and he was injured all of last year. I think he should be healthy going into this year. I don't think he makes the rotation out of spring training, but just one of those guys to keep an eye on, maybe on your waiver wire or whatnot, if he does start making appearances here for the Reds, and might be able to somebody pick him off your waiver wire in season.
Right.
Let's go and jump over to the bullpen now. We got the closer Alexis Diaz, setup man Lucas Sims, TJ Antone, some mid bullpen pieces: River San Martin, Tony Santillan, Buck Farmer, Ian Guybout, and Connor Overton. You know, just another one of those bullpens that I'm not touching. A lot of it just due to even Alexis Diaz. The opportunities aren't going to be there for Cincinnati. Even if you're missing on some of these runs on the closers in your draft, I'm not sure Alexis Diaz is going to be here to save your chances at saves. But what do you think about any holds or anything?
Well, I mean, from a holds perspective, right? So typically, when you're looking at teams for holds, you want to look at good pitchers, of course, but you also want to look for teams that aren't going to score a lot of runs. And Cincinnati is not projected to score a lot of runs, so definitely from a holds perspective, you have a lot of kind of fertile relief pitchers here. TJ Antone, I believe, is hurt right now, and so I'm going to avoid that until I kind of see what that injury is. But Reaver San Martin is somebody who throws gas, and I loved what I saw from him. Again, is it going to be control, especially in the short starts? I mean, short stints. That's going to be something I'm going to be really interested in. And Lucas Sims is another great, but Reaver San Martin is definitely a guy, along with Buck Farmer as well. But those two, but Reaver is definitely my favorite of those, and I'm picking up Reaver in a lot of places.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the whole NL Central just not a lot of bullpen targets there in the NL Central. But
well, the great thing about the NL Central, though, right? It's always, well, in most cases, right, there's not a lot of blowouts. And so that gives you a lot of chances for saves, a lot of chances for holds. And if you look predominantly, right, NL Central has always been great for closers, putting up some, 20 plus saves. So don't shy away from that just because you see a lot of teams that, there's going to be a big drop off between the NL Central. And because of that, but you can still find some great closers and great bullpen situations as long as you target guys that have control and, of course, can show some strikeouts.
Good point. Good way to end it there, because we're going to go ahead and wrap up the 2023 fantasy team preview of the Cincinnati Reds. And until next time.